So it is basically official that Kathleen Kennedy is going to be stepping down and retiring at the end of 2025. Yeah, you heard that right. There are multiple very credible sources reporting that Kathleen Kennedy is intended to step down and retire from Lucasfilm by the end of 2025. Now, this is absolutely crazy. There have been rumors about this for a while, a lot of people kind of just pandering to what audiences want to hear. We never really knew if it was real or fake, and the discussions have always kind of been there over the last year or so about what Kathleen Kennedy's future is with Lucasfilm and, of course, the Star Wars brand. Is she going to continue? Is she going to pass it on to somebody else? We didn't even know really where Kathleen's head was at, because for all we know, she could think that Star Wars is in a great place and that everything's a massive success, and she keeps going for another 10 to 15 years. But today, we got the news that it sounds like that is not the case at all, and that she intends to step down from her position within the Lucasfilm company, which of course would see her stepping away from Star Wars mainly, and of course she has say in things such as Indiana Jones and other projects that aren't really as prevalent as Star Wars, but I still wanted to throw that in there because there is more under Lucasfilm besides Star Wars. But of course, Star Wars is going to be the main focus here because it is a brand that is so huge and so loved by many that a majority of people, an overwhelming majority of people, should I say, felt that she has not handled that well. So when this news broke, people just went crazy, to say the least, and I was one of those people. I won't lie. There are a lot of things under Kathleen Kennedy's leadership that I have liked, a lot of things that I have disliked. I know I'm very outspoken on this. I didn't think the sequels were as disastrous as a lot of people think, but I am willing to recognize where they failed with them and how too many suits and people in the room, cooks in the kitchen, if you will, stopped what potentially could have been a way better sequel trilogy. Same thing with The Mandalorian Season 3, The Acolyte, the Obi-Wan Kenobi show, Boba Fett. I have been very torn on where I stand in the Star Wars community and just as a fan, because they will release something such as Mandalorian Seasons 1 and 2 and then go on to mess it up with Season 3. Or give us hope with Obi-Wan Kenobi just for it to turn into a Reva show. And the list goes on and on. Since Disney has had control of the Star Wars IP, and since Kathleen Kennedy has been in charge, it has been a roller coaster of emotions as a Star Wars fan, and it didn't really show any signs of slowing down soon. From canceling and re-announcing projects, then canceling them again, hiring, firing directors and writers, and it just seems like a mess. We don't know if anything's actually going to happen. We don't know what's going on over there at Lucasfilm, but now it looks like we have a semi-clear path with Kathleen Kennedy stepping down at the end of the year. Now, what does this mean? This means that what we know about Star Wars in 2025, we let that play out. This is the last year under Kennedy's leadership. So the projects that are going to come out this year, they're going to happen. We're going to write out 2025. And then in 2026, it will be somewhat of a fresh start. And we'll see where we go from there. I'm curious to see if projects are going to be canceled, if they're going to do a total creative overhaul. I'm not sure, because the first place my mind went when I heard this news was, well, what happens to everything that is up in the air and in development that they've been talking about for years? What happens to Taika Waititi's film? What happens to the Ryan Gosling, Sean Levy film? What happens to the Rey film and the Rey trilogy? Are those things that Kathleen Kennedy was pushing for? Or is that something that's going to continue into the next leadership? I'm really curious to see where that goes, and even more curious to see who takes her place, which is another huge talking point in the community. Yes, we are losing Kathleen Kennedy, which sounds like it will be for the better, but people like myself are very cautiously optimistic about this because this could go either one or two ways when they go to hire somebody new. One, they put somebody in that will take better care of the brand and of the franchise, such as a Dave Filoni or a Jon Favreau, or maybe somebody who hasn't even worked in Star Wars but has a track record of doing well with large franchises. Or option B, which I've seen a lot of people fearing, that they just hire basically a younger Kathleen Kennedy, maybe even somebody who has worked under Kathleen Kennedy during her time at Lucasfilm, that she may have been over the last couple of years preparing to take the role when she knew she was inevitably going to leave, which in turn would kind of just bring more of the same, especially if she was kind of a student, so to say, of Kathleen Kennedy, which I really hope doesn't happen. If it does, I will cross my fingers and wish for the best, that whoever this protege is kind of strays away from the path of a lot of her decisions. But you never know. I'm gunning for option one, obviously. And when we will see this announcement, I'm not really sure, but I hope it's going to be in the next couple months, maybe even at Star Wars Celebration. They will announce somebody. I highly doubt Kathleen Kennedy would come on stage and announce a retirement and a replacement. I feel like that's a little weird, especially if you know you're hated by a lot of the fandom. It'd be weird to go on stage and announce that and then hear like the cheers, like I don't think that's gonna happen. But potentially around that time we might get a press release or a video or something explaining what's gonna happen moving forward. I think that would be an ideal time to do it, especially around the time of Andor, Star Wars Celebration. Star Wars is gonna be probably at the highest point it'll be in 2025, around those couple months. So I feel like that would be the ideal time. Obviously, I'm going to keep my eyes peeled for all that news and report it here on the channel as it comes out. But until then, we can only speculate and talk about what we know now, which again is that Kathleen Kennedy is expected to step down by the end of this year. Now, this is the part of the video where I'm going to kind of take a deep dive on why this might have happened, because I'm still a little lost. Like, we kind of knew this was coming, but I wonder if there's more at play. So if you want to go into this deep dive with me, feel free to keep watching. If not, I've said basically all I'm going to say on the news front. So that's that. Now let's kind of talk about why this happened. Obviously, the reception to a majority of stuff that has come out during Kathleen Kennedy's leadership has been mainly negative. And of course, that's going to impact her in her perception of the brand and her position moving forward. It's been about 13 years of a lot of negative reception, and I'm sure at this point she feels that, or maybe not. You never know. It's really hard to tell, especially with her and the whole Lucasfilm ordeals as a whole, because it feels like they never learned over time. Like I said, it's always been so wishy-washy. There's a hit here, there's a miss there. It feels like for every hit, there might be 2 to 3 misses. And they never really stepped back and said, hey, we're upsetting fans. Hey, we're upsetting shareholders. We're yada, yada, yada. And it was always just a constant downslope until we are at where we are now, which is just an unfortunate place. Skeleton Crew came out and it was the lowest rated and watched Star Wars show ever, which is super unfortunate because that is one of the better projects they've put out during the Disney and Kathleen Kennedy era. But because of the negative reception of The Acolyte, people weren't looking for new Star Wars, and people just in general are not looking for new Star Wars anymore. Yes, if something cool comes out, people are going to check it out, but I don't know if the casual person is just going to be looking for Star Wars like that. And that is all due to the lack of care from the leadership. Now this is where I want to get into maybe some other reasons why Kathleen stepped down. I'm going to speculate a little on maybe it wasn't her all along. I know this has been kind of conversation throughout the years, and unfortunately, I'm sure we will never know because it is probably a lot of behind closed doors conversations and things of the sort. But really what I just want to know, and the question I guess I want to ask anybody watching this is, was it Kathleen all along, or was it the suits? Was it the higher-ups? Was it the shareholders? Was it pressure from, again, the higher-ups that trickled down to Kathleen? Because we saw what happened in The Mandalorian Season 3, and that was not natural. I highly doubt Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni intended for Season 3 to go that way, especially with how season 2 ended. I really doubt that that was the plan they had laid out until Kathleen or maybe the people above her stepped in, which is why I'm wondering if maybe she's stepping down due to the pressure put on her to include this or that, or scratch this or scratch that, or don't put this show out, or announce this, It can't be entirely up to her, and I'm wondering if over the years she's just begun to crack under that pressure. Now, this isn't me trying to defend her or give her the benefit of the doubt. I'm just wanting to kind of open up this conversation and really deep dive into what was going on behind the scenes. Maybe years from now, we'll get a book or something and it will reveal all. That would be really cool. But for now, all we can do is speculate and talk about it like this because we don't know what's going on. We don't exactly know what led to her stepping down, who's going to replace her, what went into it, how long she's been thinking about this. But it is official now. And again, just surface level thoughts is this is good news. And I hope the replacement does better, realizes the state that the franchise is in, and takes their time to create a team and kind of piece things back together and push it in the right direction entering this new era. But I believe that is about all I have to say about this. Just breaking that news of Kathleen going to step down by the end of the year and getting into a little speculation on what's happening behind the curtain at Lucasfilm. So I hope you enjoyed that little talk. I'm pretty excited about this, and I'm kind of excited to see where this goes. Again, hopefully they hire somebody good, and we can start a new, more optimistic, hopeful era of Disney Star Wars. I am done talking now. I want to know what you guys have to say about this down in the comments below. Did you see this coming? Do you like that Kathleen Kennedy is going to be stepping down at the end of this year? Why or why not? Let's have some discussions down in the comments. I'm going to be reading and responding to all those comments as they come in, so make sure to drop your thoughts down there. Also, while you're at it, make sure to leave a like on the video if you enjoyed, and of course, subscribe to the channel if you're new. I want to thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a great day.